Pipelines, are they destructive? This is Monroe County, West Virginia, where Mountain Valley Pipeline is building a 42-inch natural gas pipeline. What impacts is this county seeing from the pipeline? Let us take a look and see how family farms, land, lives, water, air, and wildlife are being affected. Why are people protesting against this pipeline? It all begins with clearing of the pipeline route. Tall trees, old growth trees, beautiful forests. Trees, it has taken years to grow. These big, tall, straight trees. Trees reaching toward the sky, unknowing what their fate will be very soon. The tree cutters arrive. Destruction begins.
Corridor, 200 feet into this is dead. The moss will be dead, the ginger will be dead, the ferns, the cohosh, it's all dead. They'll dry out. Lady slippers, rhododendron. This is the destruction that's happening in the areas of Hands Creek and across the state of West Virginia and Virginia. For a little bit of money to line the pockets of some wealthy people that live somewhere else. This is a sad, sad day.
This was a beautiful grove of white pines. These trees were home to birds and a diversity of wildlife. Nesting and birthing areas all gone for miles and miles where the pipeline route has been cleared. This is a sad scene for me. I have fond memories of my mother and I hiking this ridge and resting under this tree and having a snack. Now it is gone, gone forever. I can never go there again and sit and recall those wonderful memories. This is an old farm in Monroe County. It has been in the same family for over 100 years. And this is what it looked like before they came to build the pipeline. Cattle grazing on green pastures in the quiet of the morning as a new day begins on the farm. Then came the destruction when the pipeline construction began. Now this is what the farm looks like after they came building the pipeline. This pipeline has completely destroyed the best part of the farm and can never be restored to its original state. MVP says they can restore the land back to its original state, which is a lie. How can they put huge rocks back in the ground like they were, and no way the forests can be replaced because they cannot be planted on the pipeline corridor? They've said so themselves. This pipeline split right through the middle of the farm, destroying the pasture land and through the timber on the hill above the field. Here's another farm that's been in the same family for several generations. The owner pastures cattle and grows corn here. It's also host to the neighbors' honeybees that work on the clover that grows abundantly in this field. People come here to camp and relax and enjoy the beautiful scenery and view of Peters Mountain standing out in the distance. Then came the destruction. Now who will want to come here with a buried 42-inch gas pipeline a few feet away from where they're camping? The owner no longer has a pasture field for his cattle. Noise from the machinery, going 6 days a week, 7 days a week at times, is unnerving, not only to humans, but to the local wildlife population. Their habitats and nesting areas have been destroyed and are being destroyed by the construction. This area has a whippoorwill, which is becoming extinct in most areas. But how long will this exist here with their habitats and nesting areas destroyed? With forests gone, birds, deer, and other wildlife habitats have been destroyed and are now gone. Water. We can't live without it. Pure, clean water. All things must have it to survive. Which water would you prefer to drink? This clean, clear, pure water? Or this silt-filled water like this? With pipeline construction, this is what happens to the water. The MVP's efforts at erosion control, sediment and silt control have failed time and time again since construction began in this area. Each time a hard rain comes down these steep slopes, the erosion controls do not hold up. The mud and water end up in the creeks and the streams. Here you can see where water and mud have washed over and under the silt sock, washing out a gully on down the hillside, heading down to the road and into the branches. This happens, the company comes back, sets up more silt socks and fences. Another rain comes and happens all over again. The mud-laden water goes on down the hill, picking up more debris on the way down, and ends up in the stream at the bottom of the hill. All this has ended up in this branch and on down into the pond on this farm, filling it with mud and debris. This all goes on down the branch for about a half a mile into another person's pond. As you can see here, you see the silt-laden water, all the mud being washed into this person's pond here. As you can see, it's all flowing in there. This all will have a devastating effect on his fish, which he has stocked in this pond. This is a picture of the pond before the pipeline construction started. It contained clean, clear water. It was a beautiful pond for relaxing by and fishing in. From the pond, the mud-laden water heads on down and eventually ends up in Hands Creek and on to Indian Creek, both clean, clear streams of water. This is where Hands Creek enters into Indian Creek, and you can see how clean and clear this water is. This is Ann's Branch, down about 1/2 mile from the Mountain Valley Pipeline construction site. After a summer shower, this branch is laden with silt-filled water, going down and ending up dumping into Hands Creek and then on into Indian Creek.
This is a massive excavation project in the county with lots of karst topography, and you've seen the silt fences that have been blown out, water getting into the creek, so they say that's not going to be a problem, they can take care of it, but these slopes are just too steep for the stuff that they're used to. But my main concern is they're 1,800 feet above my house, but not through my property, so I'm collateral damage. My whole farming operation in my house depends on a couple springs that I have, and if they get disrupted through sedimentation or by blasting and changes the direction of the groundwater flow, then I'm not going to have any water. And MVP guys just say, oh, we'll just take care of it at all the public meetings, and they're not going to just take care of it. I'm not going to drink out of a water elephant. This pipeline is going to set up a whole new water channel in a recharge area, because if the water's coming down the hill, it's going to follow the path of least resistance. The path of least resistance on these hillsides is going to be this new excavated pipeline. So it's going to change the recharge of the watershed.
See where the pipeline has been built right through a spring. Mountain Valley Pipeline is to report all springs impacted by the pipeline, but this spring was never mentioned in any of their documents. This is a close-up of the water from the spring right where the pipeline is buried. On down the hill, the water is collected from the spring behind the silt fence. Water from here has washed mud on down to the landowner's pond and filled it with mud and runoff from the construction site, ruining his pond. This is a site where MVP bored under Route 219 at Landside, West Virginia. On the other side of the road is a wetland area. Here we see where water is standing in the bore site. After the pipe was buried, there were flooding issues in this area. The Mountain Valley Pipeline now lays buried in this wetland in the water with the toxic chemicals from coating on the pipeline bleaching into the water supply. Steep terrain in karst landscape characterized by caves, underground streams, which can be severely affected by the pipeline. FERC and MVP both admitted there is a high risk of slope failure and pipeline slips once the pipeline is in operation. Here you see the results of rain washing down a steep slope where the pipeline is under construction. Working in the rain, just one more of many violations MVP has committed. Let's take a look at more destruction caused by the building of this 42-inch natural gas pipeline. This time the roads. This is what happens to the roads. When this goes on all day long, day after day, pickup trucks, large trucks, hauling big loads, back and forth from daylight till dark, 6 days a week and even sometimes 7 days a week. Pulling into private driveways to pass another vehicle, making a muddy mess, then saying the person's driveway is causing the road destruction. This kind of road destruction is not being caused by private driveways. It's being caused by the Mountain Valley Pipeline construction. Now here's where this is on the Ellison Ridge Road, and you can see where they've been running over here to avoid the potholes, and they're running over onto the land and hooving the land all up here in this area. Right down through here beside the road, you can see it all hooved up there where they've been running over against it, pushing the dirt up. Here the road is hooved in the middle from the hauling of the heavy loads of equipment and gravel. More destruction along the roads. The destruction is endless. This is the Hands Creek Road. You can see how it is all cracked up, beat up by the trucks in so many different places all up and down the road. This is happening. You see the more here. This is Route 122 where the MVP will cross the road in Indian Creek. This is one of the holes, and you can see how the road's been messed up here, and they've poured some of these big old gravel in it to fill it up. That's their mitigation for the road right now. Problem: gravel don't stay because the heavy trucks running over it knocks it out onto the sides of the road. This heavy equipment, and even larger than this, crosses this bridge with a weight limit of 30 tons. This, the Ellison Ridge Road, was once a nice, smooth, paved road. Now it is totally destroyed. These pipes are coated with the material 3M Scotch-Coat Fusion Bonded Epoxy 6233. This coating contains known carcinogenics and suspected carcinogenics, as well as mutagenics, as documented by the 3M company in their safety data sheet. Silica, known human carcinogenic, quartz silica, carcinogenic to humans, and titanium dioxide. These chemicals can cause cancer, birth defects, and other reproductive harm. These chemicals leach out from these pipes into the ground and on into the public water supplies and into private wells and springs. Erosion control pellets are being dropped from the air onto the Mountain Valley Pipeline route. These pellets contain acrylamide, which is highly toxic and cancer-causing. This chemical will be carried down into the streams, creeks, wells, and springs, contaminating drinking water for people, farm animals, and wildlife. Erosion on steep slopes is inevitable, as seen here on the Columbia 8-inch gas pipeline over Peters Mountain at Peterstown. It has already happened in many places along the Mountain Valley Pipeline and other pipelines being constructed at this time. MVP has been in a rush to get this pipeline in the ground, and this is just asking for an accident to happen, which could be a disaster if this 42-inch high-pressure natural gas pipeline were to explode. It would take out everything in a wide path around it, in all directions. Homes, people, animals, all would be gone. These pipelines do explode, as we have seen in the past few years. Mountains, forests, and wildlife are being destroyed. People's property and livelihood is being taken away. Land and water being contaminated with cancer-causing chemicals, just so a large private corporation can make a profit. Landowners and others affected by the pipeline get nothing from the company. Oh yes, the landowners are promised a little money for the right-of-way, and as of now, a lot of the landowners have never even received this money from the company. But what is money when your land and your water are destroyed and your farms destroyed that took you years and generations in some cases of hard work to establish? Organic farms are no longer organic because of chemical contamination. All is gone just so a big private corporation can make more profit. This is not just happening in Monroe County, but all along the 303-mile route of the Mountain Valley Pipeline and other pipeline routes as well.